Good evening and welcome to the show. Today is Campus Day Tuesday. I'm your host, Mr. 411, and with me tonight, Lacy, Dawson, Zack, and the Calculator.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on, everybody?
Howdy. Mm-hmm. It's all good.
And everything's good on my end. Ready to get into some football talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ready to talk sports about where Zack was right and where Zack was wrong.
What? Zack was wrong?
Well, we don't grade on this because I still wouldn't be having a passing grade yet.
Wow, that's a first.
Well, I just want to say to Zack, you don't have to worry about it. That Vegas really raked it in both on the college side and the NFL side. So not only did Joe Blow lose money, there were the big wigs and heavy hitters in Vegas lost money as well, the wise guys. So Vegas cleaned up this weekend.
Yeah. And so with Vegas raking it in, usually, tomorrow is the first day of fall.
Oh yeah.
Today is September 22nd, 2015, by the way. But tomorrow, tomorrow is the first day of fall. So speaking of raking it in, the fall is the time where the leaves are falling, the weather, starts getting a little cooler, it gets a little darker. Football is starting to roll. You got NBA going into training camp, et cetera, et cetera. You got the local fairs, things like that. So with fall coming, which means we're leaving summer. Guys, just tell everybody, what did you like most about the summer? What will you miss about the summer?
Well, I'll go first if anybody don't mind.
Sure.
One of the things I'm gonna miss most is I miss the picnics with the family. When I have a fairly big family. With a bunch of sisters and parents in town and stuff. So we have a lot of the kids' birthdays during the summertime. So a lot of times we get together for like a picnic at the ballpark, and just have fun. And then a lot of times we'll go to one of the siblings' house. One of my sisters has a pool, and we'll go swimming. Gonna kind of miss that. So, but that's what I'm gonna miss about fall because now it's. Weather's beautiful, but usually when school starts and, all sports starts up, you just get so busy. Summertime is a time where, it's not as hectic. You can dial it down a little bit. You can go on a vacation. So I'm going to miss kind of like, not being, going here and there. Now, right now it's you got sports practice, you got school, you got work. Yeah. So that's the one thing I'm going to miss is the not being the relaxation. That's what I'm going to miss.
Okay. How about you, Lacy?
Well, I'm in a different stage of my life than the calculator, so all of that nonsense he was just talking about relaxing in the summer, I can relax anytime I want to. So I prefer to relax. In the fall, when the weather is cooler, that's my favorite season. I won't miss much about summer. I think we talked earlier. The only thing I'll miss is that the days are a little longer. So you have those evenings when you get off work and you get home, and you have a little bit more time to kind of if you want to sit outside and have a beverage or whatever, you can do that. So the days will be getting a little bit shorter. But I love everything about the fall. So that's my favorite season coming up, and I'm looking forward to it. I love football weather. I love football. Well, professional football. And the holiday season is going to be coming up. I just love this time of year is my favorite. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that and not missing summer very much. It's even easier to barbecue in the fall than in the summer. It's damn hot.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Zack, what's up?
I'm in El Paso, Texas. It's the Sun City. It's pretty much summer all year round here, so I'm good.
So you won't have a summer to miss then.
It's status quo for Zack.
Yep. Hey, get back at me in like January, February.
There you go.
All right, that's duly noted. Duly noted. You know, I'm going to miss the cookouts. That's what I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss the summer cookouts, and definitely looking forward to next summer because that's going to be family reunion season. My goal is to attend 2 family reunions, so I'm looking forward to that. But
it's going to be actually your family, or you just crashing?
You know, I'm just going to show up at a couple.
I know that's how you do. He shows up to get a plate.
My goal is to make 2. Is to make 2 of them, but it'd be family. You know, family on different sides, but can't wait for that. But in the meantime, it's fall.
Yes.
It's time to see some teams ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so let's get it on. So hope everybody enjoyed their summer. But let's get down to business. Today / tonight, we're going to cover the college football scene. There was a lot of action over the weekend. There was a lot of surprises. There was big changes. And we're going to discuss those big matchups. And also, we're going to give you a sneak preview of the upcoming week for college football matchups as well, and some sports lines, in case you're wanting to make, a couple of friendly wagers here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the big games over the weekend, Ole Miss versus the University of Alabama, Crimson Tide. Man, what a surprise. Ole Miss came into town and they racked up over 40 points on the vaunted Alabama's front 7, much to my chagrin. But let's go ahead, panel, and let's dig into this game. And somebody give me a reason as to why and how did this happen.
Well, I'll start it off, and it's easy. Have you not been watching Alabama for the past 3 years? Because
no,
their secondary hasn't been any good. They can't cover anybody. And add to the fact that the quarterback this play this year is probably down, maybe, and they don't have any wide receivers. Alabama right now is way more name and hype than what they actually are. I mean, on the field, that's not a wow. I mean, we saw it against Ohio State. Even when they played Auburn last year, I want to say Auburn put up, what was it? I know it was 30-plus. But then they put up 40 points, and didn't they have like almost 500-plus yards? So Alabama hasn't been able to cover anybody. Even if you want to go back to 2012 when they won, they gave up yards then to Manziel, and they gave up yards to Georgia in the SEC championship game. So they can't cover anybody right now, and they're one-dimensional on offense. I don't think Ole Miss was necessarily better, but when you give away a turnover on the opening kickoff, then you give away another turnover on another kickoff, quarterback throws a interception in the middle of the field, and you're down 17-0.
Yeah.
Alabama is a great program, and they've competed. Nick Saban is awesome. He's my number 1 coach, but that doesn't mean that you win every year. And just add to that, though people don't want to accept it outside of, what was it? Was it 2009, whenever they went undefeated? Or maybe that was 2011. I forget when it was. But whenever it was, they went undefeated that season. Alabama loses a game every year. I mean, that's just go ahead and mark it up. Under Nick Saban, they lose a game every year. It's just a matter of where they lose it at. So it's not a big deal to me.
Well, I also kind of, on the flip side of that, Alabama made miscues, but, Ole Miss, they were actually able to execute on those miscues as well. I mean, we are to the point where we might not be able to still see how good Ole Miss is, but they were good enough to take advantage of any miscues that Alabama made. And that's one of the staples of Alabama is a lot of times they don't make mistakes. A lot of times they wait till the other person makes a mistake and then they capitalize. And it was just the total opposite. And what was surprising to me was also it being in Alabama. Usually Alabama, when they play at home, they talk about different getting, we'll go back to a point spread scenario. When Vegas looks at people playing in Alabama, a lot of times they give them almost 4 extra points, because they just play better at home, better than a lot of teams play at home. So, and I think we did see a little bit more about Kelly, the quarterback from Ole Miss. That one play, we're not going to talk about the interception because everybody does know, hey, that was luck. There's no that should have been an interception. But the one play where he took off to the right, almost went to the line, got the safety to move up, thinking he was going to run, and then he passes right over the top of him for a touchdown. So he's growing. I mean, he's still early in the system. I think he's only going to get better. We were talking. They get they're still going to play 2 more top 10 teams. LSU's going to be. I think LSU's a top 10 team. I think Texas A&M is a top 10 team. So Ole Miss gets them at home. So but still, good teams. Ole Miss still going to have a lot to prove. Mississippi State started last year, and we saw what happened. When they started real hot, they kind of faded at the end, So we're going to see if Ole Miss can keep it up. Ole Miss does have a great defense to help that offense out anytime the offense might struggle. So, and then they always have, Treadwell. Always good to have a receiver that, can take over a game as well if you're starting to see stagnant on offense. So I think we do see Alabama kind of coming back down, but I think we could see Ole Miss coming up. But, Ole Miss, a couple good recruiting classes starting to pay off. So I think we need to keep an eye on the Rebels this year, see what happens.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on them. And, I think it wasn't last season where Ole Miss and Mississippi State looked like they were going to make a big run, and then they, to the national championship, but then it looked like, Ole Miss kind of faded out of there. So,
yeah. Well, now, the Ole Miss thing with last year, the reason they faded, if you remember, they were about to beat Auburn to stay undefeated, and then Treadwell got that injury. And that kind of, that kind of deflated them. It's kind of like, because they lost the game, they lost their top player, and frankly, Bo, the quarterback, he wasn't the same after he lost Treadwell. So, Bad Bo, as they called him, came back. But yeah, but they showed promise last year. You're right, and I think things are going to be better this year.
Yeah. Well, I did notice in that game there was a couple of fluke plays in there, and not to take anything from Ole Miss, because at the end of the day, you won on the road. They came in and won on the road in Alabama, and he did throw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. But there was a couple of fortunate, things that went their way, which at some point in time, you create your own luck, but you also, luck is luck. So, it did work out for them. Maybe, this may be the year, but maybe some of that luck may turn in a future game. But Alabama did, for Henry, he did rush for 127 yards and a touchdown. So, they did get something out of the running game. But I was kind of confused about Nick Saban switching quarterback. Going in with Cooper Bateman. I thought Coker was going to be the quarterback. So, is there something going on behind the scenes with Kiffin and Saban to add to all this? And then, like Zack said earlier, with the defense struggling, they were missing tackles, from some of the things I saw in the DVR. And they couldn't handle that spread attack either that Ole Miss was going with. So there's a lot of questions in the air. But October 3rd, Alabama plays UGA, University of Georgia, in Athens. And so maybe that could be a game where they can bounce back. Or they lose that game. Oh, man. Wow. Everything's up for grabs.
They're not bouncing back in Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
They're not bouncing back in Athens, Georgia. You can go on and write that one down.
All right. Well, I'm sure, and I'm glad you gave everybody a preview of your prediction. But, I'm sure I'll just wait and let I'll let you bring that up when we have that full game coverage, which we're trying to have on site at Athens. Just working with the production crew on that. How about Auburn and Louisiana State crew?
The only thing I can state with that game is goodness gracious on Fournette. We did it in one of the opening games for LSU. He's a beast, and he showed that if you try to tackle him low, he'll break a tackle. You try to tackle on high, he'll duck under. You're like that one guy that didn't want to tackle him, but tried to go high, and he went right under him. I mean, he couldn't be stopped. Now, granted, Auburn, you know, there were questions going into the game about Auburn. I think a lot of those were answered. And but when Auburn went up to against a more physical team, and a team that wasn't intimidated by that fast-paced offense, and you know, and basically LSU beat them up. I mean, there was no two ways about it. It wasn't even close. And then now Auburn's, you know, talking about, you know, switching quarterbacks now because of the, you know, the hype that the guy that they threw out there.
They already made the decision today.
Yeah, so I mean,
freshman's gonna do it.
Exactly. So, you know, they said it wasn't working. So, you know, they got to start over again. So, you know, but I think LSU, that's why I said I think they're a top 10 team in the country. I mean, they got an offensive line, defensive line, and they got one that run. You know, Zack had mentioned that, you know, they are, you know, it could be one-dimensional, but I think, you know, right now, you know, it's always good to at least have something you can go back to. So, and then I'm sure they'll try to build on their passing game as it goes along. But for now, they look nasty right now. I like LSU.
Whoa. What are your thoughts on the Auburn and LSU matchup, Zach?
Well, first thing I'm going to say is if the University of Georgia doesn't go 11-1 this year, Mark Richt needs to be fired because they should be favored in every game that they have left. And you're talking about you got to go play at Tennessee. That's not scary. Going to play at Auburn ain't scary. And you got Alabama coming to you. And I'm sorry, and you got to go to Georgia Tech. They should be favored in all of those games. As far as Auburn is pathetic. I mean, but it shouldn't be a surprise because they struggle with Jacksonville State. So maybe none of us should have thought that Auburn is going to be more than what they are because they've shown what they are. And as far as LSU, you know, everybody wants to give Fournette the Heisman, and he played well, but the LSU offensive line deserves the Heisman because if you go back and look at the game, they were opening up holes big enough for me to run through. And,
wow.
And you talking about giving Fournette a head of steam, he's a man when it comes to going straight behind, running over people. The one DB he put into the dirt, Trey Matthews, the Georgia Jet that plays like or looks like Tarzan, plays like James, got flipped. And if LSU can get anything out of their quarterback, then I gotta agree they're gonna be contenders. But I'm not sold on them yet. But their offensive line is gonna be something to deal with. And if Fournette can run downhill, I don't think anybody. If you let Fournette run downhill, I want to see the guys that are going to tackle him one-on-one. And we saw Auburn didn't want any part of that. So Auburn's bad. LSU is good on the offensive line.
Right.
That's about all I took away from it.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I took from it was Fournette was just a beast. I heard the word. I heard the player named Herschel Walker come up several times, and he did remind me of that. He also reminded me of, you know, on Tecmo Bowl when you play when you have the play that no one can stop. It's like, you remember Bo Jackson used to run around the side, just run through players. That's what it reminded me of. It was just like, wow, like a freight train. So he was just too much for them. In Auburn, they just look like they're falling apart. They're falling to pieces. The quarterback play is not stable. And the defense, man, they just giving it up. So that's a bad combination. I may have to pull an Omaha here. And Lacy, will you be able to take the snaps from center?
I will do my best.
I appreciate it. I think right now we're on the Stanford versus University of Southern California game.
Right. And I understand there was an upset there?
Yes. The Stanford USC game was not just an upset, but, you know, it was a moneymaker for Las Vegas.
Oh, yes. Because I understand, if I recall correctly from last week, there were some conversations about the Stanford people being kind of, the nerds, the eggheads, the students, and
somebody said that.
And I guess the USC was kind of playing that thug life role in this scenario. What you're telling me that Stanford beat USC, is that what you're saying?
Yes. That is what I'm saying. And you know what? If I had to do it all over again, I'd still pick the same thing. And you know what? I'd still
that would be very foolish. I know, but if you do over again, you would do the right thing.
Along with the calculator because I didn't choose over again.
Yep. I mean, they had advantages in every single area and had home field advantage. I mean, you couldn't ask for it.
Okay,
so
they were actually in USC also?
Yes. That's what I mean. That's what was so
they let a bunch of pocket protector wearing nerds come down and beat their butts at home. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw a quarterback that went in there, a very experienced quarterback that had been pretty awful all year long, and decided to do his best Joe Montana impersonation. And I mean, it was a different team. It really was. Even the defense played halfway decent. And and this was a young defense. And I mean, this was not the same team that played against Northwestern just, a few weeks ago. Yes, I understand Northwestern. It was a travel game. It was an early game. But this team was, not just twice as good as the Northwestern team when they played. They were 3 times as good, 4 times. I mean, I didn't recognize the team. I'll tell you that right now. And USC.
What team are you talking about? You not recognizing? Is this
Stanford.
USC or Stanford?
No, USC was able to move the ball. It's just the defense was not able to stop what I thought was a methodical, plotting offense. But Hogan was airing it out. I mean, the tight ends were wide open. Nobody was covering them. I mean, USC defense did not show up. I don't know if they read their press clippings or was just soft because of the easy matchups they had already.
Stanford didn't get the memo.
Prepared.
Yeah.
They didn't. They said, hey, there was a game that night. But, but hats off to Stanford. They proved me wrong. They proved a lot of people wrong. Vegas, 82% of the public, including big money, went for USC to cover.
And how many points were
It was
involved?
10 points. Okay.
10 points.
Usually when you lay a certain amount of money, points move one way or another. But everybody was betting on USC, right? But the line didn't move. So I'm telling you, Guido or whoever set the line knew something was up, because when you have one side betting so heavily, the line would move to try and get other people to move. I'm telling you, Vegas wanted everybody to bet on USC. And everybody did.
So when the line moves, it's trying to get people to bet the other way.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's why I say that.
Nobody fell for that.
Yeah. But hey, the books were right. They were confident. They were looking at numbers. But I was one of the ones that was in danger of looking at, my small sample size, looking at the Stanford team and saying, hey, this team is bad. Looking at USC and their easy matchups, say, hey, they're good. And, and it's only 10 points and at home. I mean, I fell for it. I'll be the first.
So let me ask you this. Would the question to ask have been, why only 10 points?
Yeah. That is in what they call in the industry, what they call the smelly line.
Okay.
Because you can smell something up there. I was so into that line. It's just I didn't even think about it.
It was too good to be true. There you go.
It was too good to be true, and usually, as that saying goes, if it's too good to be true, it usually is. So, but I don't want to talk about it because I lost my lunch money to that game. So
were you peanut butter and jelly today?
Yes.
Hey, that's my lunch of choice.
I might have to. I can't even eat PB&J. I have to eat Tyrone's PB&J leftover.
And now that's some funky stuff right there.
Yeah.
He's got left his crust. How about you, Zachariah?
So,
is Zachariah still here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I do now. Yes. The calculator's so loud, my ears were still ringing. I'm sorry.
Well, if you can hear me, hear this. Do you hear that? That's me looking up my preseason. I don't know anything. Even when we want to talk about the University of Georgia, everything that I thought was going to happen, it didn't happen.
Well, no, you were right about Georgia.
well, no, I wasn't, because I was wrong about the quarterback, and we can get to that.
Oh, we'll get to that.
USC, Sarkisian, this is why guys should lose their job. Because USC has better.
It is I think week 3 in college.
And you should lose your job because when you have better resources, like, think about it, in the corporate world, misallocation of resources will get you fired. That's what Sarkisian did. I mean, honestly, he has better talent. He probably has more guys that are going to the NFL next year than what Stanford has. And I don't think Stanford's that good, but they went and beat USC. So what this means is USC must not be that good because you're not going to tell me that a team that went and got whipped by Northwestern, like they didn't lose to Northwestern, they got whipped by Northwestern.
Yeah,
and Stanford was physically better than USC. It's one thing to get beat, but when you're getting physically beat, like their offensive line was moving USC's defensive line. Stanford's defensive line was, for the most part, dominating USC's line. That shouldn't happen. And it shouldn't happen, honestly, because, like, being honest, the way the college system is set up, a school like Stanford just can't get the same type of players that USC can get. It just can't because their academic standards to get individuals into the school are higher than what it is at a place like USC or even the University of Georgia. So those schools, USC, Georgia, Alabama, can slide in athletes that a Notre Dame, Stanford, or Northwestern, even Duke just can't get. And I'm already telling you, that Sarkisian probably should have lost his job after seeing where he was drunk. That being said, he should have, but he didn't lose it because they thought USC was going to have a good season. When you go out and lose to a team like this, as far as I'm concerned, he should be fired. So, great job by Stanford. Happy for David Shaw that a guy like him can do better with his team that he has. But fire Sarkisian.
Wow.
That's all I can say.
You are an arch taskmaster.
That was embarrassing. USC was supposed to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about them this year.
If anybody thinks they're going right now, they're crazy because Stanford's not that good to me. I think Stanford's going to lose 2 or 3 more games. If they don't, I'll be surprised.
I will be too.
Was there in Omaha? Is Mr. 411 back?
Oh, yeah, I'm at receiver.
Oh. I was checking.
Yeah, I'm at wide receiver now.
Okay. So have we thoroughly covered Stanford versus the University of Southern California? And everybody wants to get off that stinky subject.
Yeah. I'm still sore about it.
Well,
Lacy.
Okay.
You want to comment on Stanford?
No,
I did make a statement that was kind of offhanded about Stanford last week, and
what was that?
Well, I said something about the smart school was not gonna win, and they did. The good thing for USC, they scored 31 points, but the bad thing is they gave up 41. And
So wait a minute. So they lost by 10.
Game.
So it's a 20-point spread.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, they gave up 41, and they gave it up to a team, and I will admit, I enjoy watching how they play. That's the kind of football I like to watch. Fullback, hit the tight end, run the ball, play some physical football. I really like the throwback style of play that they play with. However, I had to take the loss here and had to eat a little crow on it, but. USC, man,
no, you were not alone.
Making me look bad. They're making me look bad. Now I see what USC is doing to me. But,
see, every time you have one of your stupid puns, I'm going to take a shot of tequila, and I don't like tequila. I'm going to be so drunk by the end of this conversation.
Pretty good.
I think it kind of had a nice little ring to it.
Yeah.
Well, that one wasn't as bad as usual, but he's got some more, and they're going to be worse.
Oh, more to come. But I'm done with that. We can go to the next game.
Okay, then the next game I believe was Georgia Tech versus Notre Dame. Now, obviously, I have no idea how that game turned out. So will someone please enlighten me?
Hey, I'll go.
Zack?
As I said, I ripped up my sheet earlier, and
I heard it.
I picked Georgia Tech, and they got physically whipped. And I'm a believer in Notre Dame now. They're defensively, Notre Dame is very good. They controlled the whole game. Now, the only thing I guess I can say is Brian Van Gorder, Notre Dame's defense coordinator, is former defense coordinator for the University of Georgia, and it's not something I thought about, but he's never lost to Paul Johnson in that offense. So he understood.
Okay.
He understood exactly how to handle that. But Notre Dame was impressive, especially with a backup quarterback, and the fact they keep losing people. I got to tip my hat to them, even though I'm not a Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
Well, and I think their defense being healthy though is able to compensate for that, because you're right, their defense was just phenomenal. I mean, you were going against a team that scored 70 plus points in the past two games. Granted, 70 points against inferior opponents, but 70 points is still 70 points, and a lot of people get baffled by that that triple option type deal. But Notre Dame was ready for it. But Notre Dame does have athletes that can handle that type of speed. That's one thing, they were missing last year. They had a lot of defensive personnel that were hurt. They're back. They're healthy, and they're looking, that defense just looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to kill him.
Well, I feel like
you're going to kill Paul Johnson because he didn't win?
Yeah. Hey, whatever. He did his job, but, look. Notre Dame, man, I've been bashing you guys since our college preview back in August, and I'm going to have to eat some more crow here. Man, it's a bad thing tonight.
Big season helping.
Yeah. Notre Dame has now moved up to, number 6 in the country right now. And, they deserve. Oh, what's that?
Polls don't count.
Oh, okay.
Those don't count. Yeah, those don't count until the real polls come out after a few weeks.
Yeah. So, they moved up from wherever they were, but, man, to beat Georgia Tech, who's the team I selected to win the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship, they showed me something. I made sure that I put that on the DVR so I can watch it. Yeah. And I was ready to just see Notre Dame go down, but man, their quarterback stepped up. 30 passes for 242 yards. Their running back, 22 rushes, 198 yards. Notre Dame was able to execute, and Georgia Tech now, they drove down the field early in the game a couple times, and they missed 2 easy field goals, which, at the end of the day, that kind of threw a lot of things off. And I know they made a late push, but got to give Notre Dame credit. They earned it. And maybe those games when they do play Navy and things like that, maybe that has helped them over the years with Georgia Tech. So, hats off to Notre Dame and more crow.
Okay, now, before we leave that subject alone, I do have a question, because I believe that in the preseason, and the college preseason, I think I asked about Notre Dame and the mythical qualities that it seems to take on. And my question is this: Are they doing well? Is beating Georgia Tech a sign of things to come? Because I'm just curious. Is like are they doing well, or did they just happen to beat Georgia Tech, kind of like Stanford beat USC?
Well, they're doing well. I'd like to say I still think they're going to end up with 3 losses, but they may not now, because USC just got whipped. So, got to believe they're going to beat them. Florida State isn't a power this year, it doesn't seem. And I don't know if they play Clemson or not.
They play Clemson.
But Clemson isn't a world beat either. Notre Dame could be undefeated. That
I don't know, Zack. I'm with you. I still have them down for 3 losses. I mean,
but
they still do have a backup quarterback, and they still going to have to play on the road with this quarterback. They did have the luxury of playing at home, which was kind of helpful for a young guy. So, but yeah, their defense is going to keep them competitive. But I have them losing to USC. So I just don't. I mean, I guess I'm not still on the USC bandwagon, but I just think Notre Dame does have flaws, and I'd like to see what they're going to do, because Notre Dame should have gotten beat by Virginia. Granted, they did that Hail Mary to win the game, but Virginia's not very good. So that kind of showed that there are going to be reasons for concern going down the road for Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. But
it was a big win, so you got to give them credit for that.
So are we done with them? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on to Northern Illinois versus the great Ohio State University. I'm sorry that our friend T-Rock wasn't able to make it in tonight.
I'd love to hear his analysis of that game.
He certainly would have been happy to rub it in and kick some sand in his face and whatnot, but unfortunately he wasn't man enough to show up.
Well, but you know what T-Rock probably would have said in the end? He would have said it's still a win. Because that is the truth. No matter how bad you play, it's still a win. But it just goes to show you, in my opinion, what better teams can do to inferior teams. Yes, they had 7 turnovers, but it was 7 turnovers against Northern Illinois. It wasn't 7 turnovers against a team like Northwestern or a team like Wisconsin or a team like Minnesota that could actually capitalize, or even take a Big 12 team. What would TCU do with 7 turnovers against a team like Ohio State? So that's why it's kind of they play bad, but it was a bad team, and so I say Ohio State, you want to show people how good you are. You're going to play in a weak conference. Go and get some out-of-conference games. At least Northwestern scheduled Stanford. Heck, Michigan State did a home with Oregon. I don't see Ohio State, doing that. And that's kind of frustrating. We can't see how good they are for the championship. Well, you know what? All these other teams will beat up by the time they make the championship games because of all the tough teams they got to play. Ohio State basically skates through, no injuries. Hey, they can play their best, So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, maybe that's part of my master plan is to because he does have this quarterback, situation going on where he's not sure which one to roll with. So maybe he's using these first 3 or 4 competitive games in quotations to get those guys ready, for the Michigan State matchup.
Well, he's just waiting for a clear-cut starter to present itself. Himself.
Yeah, but the thing is, they won't play Michigan State till the end of the year. They still get a bunch of practice games against Illinois and Indiana, Play some more teams.
What? Competitive in quotation marks.
Okay, that's right. I'm sorry, I just lost myself. Talking gets me fired up.
He gets carried away.
Yeah, but I mean, it was an ugly performance, and Cardell Jones 36 yards passing, J.T. Barrett 97 yards passing, and they still managed to win the game. I guess they played to win the game, and they survived another week, man. So, but look, next week, Western Michigan.
Oh,
Western Michigan.
There you go.
Okay,
a directional Michigan team.
But then you got Indiana, Maryland, Penn State, Rutgers, Minnesota, Illinois. Mm-hmm. So maybe one of those teams.
Look at that gauntlet there that you just said. Man, I've seen tougher SDS schools. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe T-Rock could get us up to speed on that.
Yeah. If he ever shows up, that's cool. We'll ask for his input. In the meantime, Zachariah, where you at?
We can talk about Ohio State when we talk about the top 25 that we really shouldn't talk about.
You had enough.
I got you.
Okay, so all right, just to recap, we've covered Ole Miss versus Alabama, and in that game they did not cover. Alabama did not.
That is correct. That is correct.
So that's a no. Then we had Auburn and LSU. Who actually won that game?
LSU killed Auburn.
Okay. Were they supposed to do that?
Well, they were favored by 7, but they clearly won that game.
So they did cover. So that's a yes.
Yeah, they covered.
Okay. Just keep it, for the fans at home. The Stanford versus USC, that's definitely a no. Okay. Georgia Tech versus Notre Dame, I'm not sure how that was supposed to go.
Well, Notre Dame was favored by 2, and they covered.
Okay.
Yeah, they won 30-22.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame did cover. And then Northern Illinois versus Ohio State University. Did they cover?
Ohio State did not cover. Ohio State was favored by 41, I believe.
41?
Yeah.
And they did not cover what?
No.
Slackers.
Come close.
I mean, they did.
I thought it was a little bit closer than that.
Yeah.
They did win it 20-13, though.
Yeah, 20.
They only won by 7. Wow, that is embarrassing. Okay, so that leads us around to our final game of the big games, which was South Carolina versus the University of Georgia. Shall we begin or end with Zachariah?
Yes, Zack.
Zack, you want to go first or last? You get to drop the mic if you go last.
You know what? It's no reason to. This shouldn't even be on the big games because I tried to say last week this was going to be a blowout. And
you did say it. You didn't try. You said it.
Nobody won the rock.
Uh-oh.
What was that? Is somebody knocking at the door?
In the house.
Yeah, hey. He came on. He came on at the appropriate time when we weren't talking about Ohio State anymore.
You what?
We just got done talking about Ohio State. Mr. 411 must have texted you and told you it was safe to come on.
Yeah. I tell you what, you got to rewind it.
We passed that part.
Well,
we said all
the reverse button, baby.
Well, we'll give you a moment. T-Rock, welcome, and we will give you a moment to voice your thoughts in the open forum portion of the program. But for the moment, Zachariah is about to wax poetic about his University of Georgia Bulldogs.
I mean,
Lord! I'll just let me go ahead and recap my opinion on it, and then drop off and let Zach do his thing.
Well, respectfully, T-Rock, just let's hold off for a moment and let Zachariah have his moment. He was willing to do the same for you. And then once that's done, you can say what you have to say, and then you can circle back around and say anything you need to say about Ohio State. And we can wrap that up.
Not a moment. We have to make it not a moment.
I only have about 15 minutes, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'm going to be real quick. So y'all want to talk about Georgia, y'all can, but I said it was going to be a blowout. I said that. I said glory. What a hell of a way to die. We're going to be playing all day on Saturday. I said that.
You did.
I told y'all, I said that.
You did.
You did.
Who is an NFL offensive coordinator, had been holding back what he was going to do on offense for this game because he didn't want to give away because whatever reason coaches think their stuff is like government secrets.
Yes.
And everybody got to see why Rick got the quarterback from Virginia versus going with Ramsey because this guy has game experience. He has. I mean, hey, he went 24 for 25. He said NCAA record.
Hold on, Zach. I gotta chime in. Now look, man. Look.
I mean, Ohio State could have used him on Saturday.
No. Ohio State gonna be fine. Listen, you all of a sudden want to get this guy MVP prop, Heisman type guy. He is not.
I thought that was Chubb.
I didn't say that. What did you hear me say?
Zach, but you're going back. You're talking about this is why Rick brought him in. This ain't why Rick brought him in. Now, give me a couple more weeks when y'all play Alabama, and let's see what it look like then. And then if he show out like he did against South Carolina the other day, then you can give him the props he needs. But right now,
all I'm going to tell you this is go back to the tape last year when Virginia played Florida State and watch how he played in that. And that's what Rick pointed to as to why he brought the guy in, because in a hostile environment, he performed. He doesn't have to be anything more than a game manager.
If he was that good, he would still be in Virginia. There's a reason why Virginia let him go. Now, he doesn't have to be in Georgia because he's got weapons around him. He just needs to be a game manager and make the plays that he's supposed to make. I will give your offense coordinator some credit. He put the guy in position to succeed. He called a simple game. South Carolina just – A simple plan. He had a simple plan. Yes. A very simple basic plan for it.
Was it?
Your receivers were doing 5 and out all night. And South Carolina never adjusted. 5 and out, hand off to Chubb, hand off to Michael, hand off to Chubb, hand off to Michael, 5 and out, up and down the field. And South Carolina just never adjusted. Now, like I say, he had a good game Saturday. I give him credit. I tip my hat to him. Tip my hat to Georgia. Had a real good game plan.
330 yards and 96% is a good game.
Oh, wow.
Lord, you tough.
This is why I wanted to come in on Ohio State session and lead. Because I already knew what Mr. Zachariah Fred was going to have to say. Huh?
A good game?
What you want me to say? Is he now a Heisman contender? Is that what you want me to say?
He was, but he didn't have a good game.
Now, how did he look last week against Vanderbilt?
Well, you see your last game. Because,
wait. Hold on. How did he look last week against Vanderbilt? I ain't had a chance to talk to you.
He looked slightly better than Ohio State quarterback looked on Saturday against Northern Illinois. Where they had to take first-round Cardale Jones out of the game because he had his second bad performance, which that's about the one thing I did get right about preseason, that this guy ain't no NFL quarterback.
Listen, okay, you open up the Ohio State flow, so now let me take my part. Here's the problem. No, let me chime in. I thought we were through with Georgia.
They might
Georgia
won. But you know what? It's nothing need to be said. They shouldn't even be on this segment.
Wow, well, you better take advantage of that now, because you know in the near future the tone's gonna change.
No, it's not.
Take advantage now, right? Take the center stage, do your show. I want to see what you're gonna be doing in 2 more weeks.
I've already called it. Oh, we're gonna name our score when Alabama comes to town. You can go on and put 40 up there against Alabama. Georgia's going to name their score against Alabama.
Oh.
And how many can I put up for Alabama?
Alabama might not get 20.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's pretty strong right there, baby. Well, here, let me go on chime in on Ohio State. Now,
sure.
I have a little concern, like most of Buckeye fans and those that don't care for them.
Just a little bit.
But here's the problem. The biggest issue right now is we are missing my offense coordinator, Mr. Tom Herman. He was a genius for the offensive side of the ball. He's gone. So what Meyer has done, he has delegated the offensive coordinator duties over to the O-line coach, which Warren is a good offensive mind. But if you notice, the offensive line has been struggling some, and I think part of that reason is because, in my opinion,
I'm sorry, T-Rock. Can I just chime in real quick?
Go ahead, Zack.
Did you say the offensive line was struggling? Because someone said in preseason that offensive line was the best in the nation.
Listen, you gonna let me finish?
Okay. But they're the best in the nation.
So
was that an Omaha?
Here's the reason for the struggles, as I was saying. I think Mr. Warren is having trouble trying to balance the game plan for the offensive side of the ball, and at the same time keep his offensive line sharp. So I think what's going to happen in the very near future, a lot of those game plans and offensive execution, play call, and all that stuff, that's going to be delegated out more so to probably Tim Beckett and Irvin's probably going to kind of take a lead in that until Mr. Warner can get the line back up to par because the talent is there. I think that they've just had a few issues with finishing off blocks and pass protection. And I think that's just the outcome from a lack of coaching. So they'll get it worked out. He'll get back in. They'll get the details straightened out, and also the offense will, continue to adjust to the new coordinator, and they'll get it worked out. So I wouldn't get too hyped, just like I won't get too hyped about Georgia right now. As long as we continue to win, and as long as we continue to improve each week, real similar to last year. We got off to a bad start with Virginia Tech. Offense looked terrible. We played Navy the next week. They struggled then. But then, if you notice, from games 3 all the way on to the national championship, they continue to improve each week. I mean, expecting no less than that this year. As a matter of fact, I think the improvement will come a lot faster. It'll be a lot smoother. And, we'll handle our business. And in the end, we'll be there.
Well, luckily you ain't got to do too much to improve on this week. it should be easy to improve on this week. Just don't have.
Well, who you got? Who Georgia play this week?
We play Southern University.
Who? Y'all play who?
Southern University.
Nobody.
Southern University. Who is that? Where are they at?
Well, who does Ohio State play?
Are you kidding me? Southern University? Who is that?
Who does Ohio State play again this week?
They playing Western Michigan. Now where's Southern? Where's Southern?
Are they in the
Wait.
I think that's in Louisiana.
Southern University?
Southern?
Avery Johnson played point guard for Southern University.
You understand Georgia played 2 conference games already, right?
Wait.
Do you mean Ohio State played?
Do you mean Southern University as in Southern Electric? Like the electric company? Is that what you're talking about?
Hey,
wow.
if we're bragging because
it'll be a W.
Wow.
If we're bragging because we had a close game with who is it that they played again this week?
Actually, Northern Illinois is not. I mean, they're not a Power 5 school, but they're outside of the Power 5. Actually, they'll beat a lot of Power 5 schools.
I mean, of course.
Over the last 5 years, they've had 5 straight years.
Recruiting classes every year.
Hold on, they've had 5 straight years with 11+ wins, and they've won the MAC several years straight. But but like I said, I'm not gonna make excuses.
This is an Ohio State fan. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. Because if you're gonna have a tough time with Northern Illinois, then I don't want to hear about you being a contender for the national championship because that's shameful.
Ouch.
Zack, what did y'all beat Vanderbilt by? How many points you beat Vanderbilt by?
Oh.
Come on, talk to me. I know you know. Just
Was it more than
how many you beat them by?
Hey, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure.
Wait. Let me help you out. Hold on.
I got my popcorn ready.
Zack, hold on. You beat them by like 10, I think.
Okay,
10, maybe 14.
Did they play them
now,
at
that's
home?
the same.
Or did they play them on the road?
That's the same school that lost to Western Kentucky at home the previous week, bro.
But did they play them at home or on the road, and was it a conference game? It was a conference game on the road. And once again, it was a conference game on the road. It wasn't against a MAC school. When they played their
wait. Who did Vanderbilt play the week before that?
And actually Georgia won by 17 points.
Zack, go ahead and answer the question, bro. Who did Vanderbilt play at home the week before that?
They played what? How many points did Georgia win?
Zack, you still ain't.
They won by 17 points.
Zack, you gonna answer the question. The next question is, who did they play at home?
Well,
go ahead.
Where is Mr. Ford?
Western Kentucky, exactly. And
I got my
did they win
popcorn.
the game?
Enjoy the show.
Did they win that game, Mr. Zack?
No, they didn't.
Hello? Hello?
I said no, they didn't.
Okay, all right. So that's all I'm going to say about that. What that means is you're not going to play your A game every week. Y'all struggled against Vanderbilt. We struggled against Northern Illinois, which, in my opinion, Northern Illinois is a much better team than Vanderbilt. But that's how you do. But you know what? Good programs. Good programs win.
You didn't
that's
go
okay,
on the road
bro.
to play them. You played at home.
It don't matter.
If you're 90+ thousand, you're 90+ thousand fans.
No, 107,000. But that don't matter, bro. It don't matter, Zach. Okay. A struggle is a struggle whether you struggle at home or whether you struggle on the road.
Sounds good.
Now, like I said, we'll revisit this call in about 2 weeks.
Oh.
And I'd like to have it on. Oh, I know you're not worried about it. I know you're not. I can feel all your confidence, bro. It's there.
Because here's the good thing about Georgia's schedule. If Georgia was to lose to Alabama, they still got a chance. If Georgia was to lose to Alabama, they still got a chance to go to the college football playoff. If y'all lose to Michigan State, that's the one team that y'all play on y'all schedule, y'all out. Because y'all don't play nobody. Y'all lose one game, y'all out. Because y'all play nobody.
Wait, hold on. Did you say that y'all lose to Alabama, you still got a chance to go? And if we lose to the number 2 ranked team in the nation, we have a less chance to go than y'all do.
That's the way I heard it.
In fact, we'll go over this when we go over the top 25 segment, where I can actually give my argument.
Yes.
Because we take it up a lot of time. But
yes, you are.
Ohio State loses one game, they out.
All right, you keep believing that. You keep believing that.
It's the 411.
Very entertaining.
All right, guys. Miss 411, I apologize for taking over the show. But it's just something about when Zack get to talking, it just kind of gets me going.
Oh no, it's a heavyweight. It's a heavyweight fight. That's good stuff.
Oh no, look, I was on the front row. I had my popcorn.
Oh yeah.
I had my vanilla Coke.
Card. Right now it's a draw.
I was sitting back enjoying that. I mean, I'm sure all the listeners around the world was enjoying that. Hey, yeah, I could have took 30, 40 more minutes of that.
Well, I couldn't. So let's move it along.
But look on the real note.
Nice to have you, T-Rock.
Zach, congratulations. Georgia played a good game. They played a very good game on Saturday. I think the team that they played is not very strong. Matter of fact, I expect South Carolina I don't even know if they're going to finish 500 this year, to be honest with you. I don't expect them to. I expect them to finish less than 500 or less. I also expect Mr. Spur to be gone by the end of this year.
Ooh.
So, but
Georgia
played a good game.
I'm not sure.
Your boy? No, it's not a apology. Just a little tip of the hat. They played a good ball game.
It wasn't much of a tip of the hat, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I tried.
Try harder.
But look, I'm going to go ahead and end on this note. Once again, I enjoyed being on the show. I look forward to being on it again soon. As always, enjoy the conversation with Mr. Zack, Mr. Craig.
Yeah.
And one final thing. Oh, you know what? No, let me touch on one other thing before I get out of here. And this is for Miss Lacy.
Oh, yeah.
Have you had a chance to tune in to the New England Patriots over the past couple of weeks?
Actually, I haven't been able to make the time. No. Not at all. Well, I've been too busy watching the New York Jets. Yeah, there you go.
You got direct TV?
I do. I can watch any game I want to. And by the same token, I cannot watch any game I don't want to. So there you have it. Go Jets.
I see. I'm going to give you Jets a little credit.
Why are you? Because I wasn't giving New England nothing. I'm saying. But I have called you out a couple of times. I am respectful of you being a fan of the Patriots, whether or not I respect the Patriots.
Right.
I know you should be happy.
And what was the prediction? You said they would probably finish up this year. Was it like 10-6 or something?
I can't remember the exact number. I do remember saying that they would not win the division.
Well, I do think
I will stand by that.
Brady missing 4 games.
Yeah.
And, by the way,
what
would be way awesome is if that goes ahead and gets pushed through. And then also we talking about missing week 16, 17 in a playoff game. So
right, that's true. Things have changed.
Don't get too excited.
Zack, what did I tell you? What did I tell you when we had the first call about Mr. Brady?
You did say
listen,
that, but
listen,
you called it. You did.
Go back tonight when we get done with the show. Go back to that show.
No. I have to say, I was there, T-Rock, and you did call it that Tom Terrific wasn't going to do any time for he can cheat at will, apparently. However,
and I also told you that all this was going to do was wake up a sleeping giant, just like they did when they went undefeated. And the role Mr. Brady is on right now.
Hey, I'm sorry. When did the Patriots
MVP.
go undefeated? When did the Patriots go undefeated? Because I don't remember the Dolphins going undefeated. When did the Patriots?
Now, I think the New York Giants had something to do with that, but but we digress.
I must have been deployed when they had that season.
You probably was.
I was sitting in the desert. However, that is right. T-Rock, at the time that we made those predictions, Mr. Brady was scheduled to miss 4 games that did not materialize, so things have changed. We have not yet had a chance to do an update, but I stand by what I said, that they will not win the division. I stand by that, and we will have to just wait and see on that one.
Hey, look, I must say they're going to win the division.
Okay. Duly noted.
What does that say? I didn't hear that last part.
I said they're going to win the division. They look like gangbusters.
Yeah. I expect them to win a whole lot more than just the division, though. But look, man, we're going to end on that note. Hey,
yes, ladies
and gentlemen, Mr. 411, Mr. Craig, Miss Lacy, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye, T-Rock.
Have a good weekend.
You forgot about the
calculator.
Where's the calculator?
Hey, I'm just enjoying the conversation as well.
This is not like you not to chime in.
Yeah.
One final shout out. Go Bucks. Go Bucks. All right, T-Rock.
Bye, T-Rock.
All right, later. Wow.
Why do we let him keep coming on the show?
Because he is good, clean fun. And we love listening to you argue with him, honestly. I do.
Yeah.
Satan sells himself as being good, clean fun also. We know how that works out.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope at the end of the day he's a loser, but at the moment things are going his way, so I'll give him some credit for being a fan of the right people. But anyway, moving on. 411, are you back to take over your hosting duties, or can I go back and get myself a drink?
Omaha. I'll move back behind center.
Have at it.
All right, we're going to get into the run and shoot offense right now. We have to. The producer's saying we got to hurry up as a 2-minute warning. So
we hit the 60-minute mark a minute ago.
All right, so since we're tagging out, I'm going to tag in the calculator, and the calculator is going to quickly run us through his lines.
Well, it's really not that quickly. Tyrone had a lot of information.
Not his strength.
So I personally think we need to save that for another show. So
that may.
This is a live recording, so what we can do is
we can just keep going.
So
we can keep moving. If you can you get the fans maybe your number one line?
Sure. One of the lines I like really quick is there's a game, BYU. They are getting 5.5 at Michigan. A little backdrop to that, last time that team met, Jim Harbaugh was a redshirt sophomore quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines. BYU actually won that game. So, it's kind of poetic that they get to meet on his first year at coach. Now, we all know BYU is without the quarterback, Taysom Hill, after the injury he suffered in the opener against Nebraska, which partially explains this line with Michigan being favored. But it's not like BYU has underachieved since then. Backup quarterback Tanner Mangum, He's taken over seamlessly, leading his team to thrilling wins over the Cornhuskers and Boise State before dropping 1-point heartbreaker to UCLA last weekend. Mm-hmm. So who does Michigan have at quarterback? Okay, it's a fifth-year graduate transfer, Jake Rudock, who's already thrown 5 interceptions and has led the offense to really not too much of anything in 3 games. But it's more than quarterbacks. BYU's defense ranks 21st in the country in getting off the field. Opponents are only 9 for 35 against the Cougars on third down, and that spells trouble for Michigan team that ranked 49th in moving the chains on third down. Maybe the number one, exactly. The number one thing fans should be worried about in this matchup is BYU's opportunistic defense. The Cougars have forced 8 turnovers in their first 3 games. What's more, 7 of those turnovers have come via the interception. UCLA true freshman quarterback Josh Rosen, he, the freshman phenom everybody talked about, he even threw 3 interceptions last week. Okay, so if BYU gets ahead, Michigan basically is going to have their work cut out for them. Now, the good news is Michigan has been able to play from behind once this season against Utah in the opener, but if people remember that game, it didn't go very well. So there's a lot to work. A lot would have to happen to work in Michigan's favor this Saturday if they want to cover a 5.5 spread, but don't count on it. Take BYU, take the 5.5 points, and don't be surprised if they win outright. So BYU plus 5.5, take it to the bank.
Cool. All right. So BYU 5.5. I also have the understanding from the producers that you have some more matchups, but that will be on a future recording.
Correct.
We're going to try to get that in so that the fans can, make their friendly wagers before this upcoming college weekend. Now, we have, just to give you just a tidbit of what we have coming up this week, we're going to have a sneak peek preview of the NFL upcoming week. We will review this previous weekend as well, as T-Rock has just, gave you a little hint about the Patriots. And also we're going to talk about some fantasy football with Waiver Wire Wednesday. That's all coming up real soon. So we'll get that taken care of for you. Now, commercial break. Okay, commercial break's over. Now we're back. Today is in sports history.
Hey, Mr. 4-1, before we get to that, we got to talk about this before we go.
Okay.
Why is Ohio State ranked number 1?
Because they're the defending champs.
That's why I didn't talk about them earlier. What have they done on their resume to be ranked number 1? This is why I hate preseason polls.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask the calculator or your opinion, why are they ranked number 1?
Well, the main reason they're ranked number 1 is because the amount of returning players they had coming back basically makes a lot of that. Since they won last year, they were number 1 last year. So they said, logic is if you got to vote number 1, you're going to take the team that won last year. That brings back all their remaining players. Now that could change, when they start when the committee, remember the committee, that actually seeds players. Unfortunately, I should say fortunately, they do sometimes do the eye test. So I think they will take account that Northern Illinois game. But I think it's a lot to do with Florida State. If you remember, Florida State, when they won the national championship, they didn't bring back a lot of defensive players, but they still brought back their quarterback. And that's usually the main thing people are doing when they're voting in these polls. Educated guess is when all things being equal, take the team that was highest in the rankings that returned the most players back. And that's the only reason nobody knew Ohio State was going to struggle against Northern Illinois. So, the thing is, people are going to keep, voting them in number 1 until they lose. And that's just, I don't agree with it. That's why I'm glad that they do have a selection committee that hopefully will look at it. Because I've already talked about this in the past. The selection committee, if they do to Ohio State what they did to Florida State last year, even though Florida State was undefeated. Everybody talked about how close a lot of their wins were and how they just, the eye test, they didn't pass the eye test, but they kept winning. Well, hey, we'll give you a spot, but we're not going to give you a top 2 seed. You know, you're going to have to play, you know, and a lot of people may discount the seeds. Well, you know, what they try to do with seeding is the higher the seed, the better you're going to be allocated to bowl, but they're going to try and help you out geographically to where it's easier for your fans to travel and so forth. So, you know, but you are exactly correct. If Georgia loses to, say, Alabama, but if they go undefeated, they win the SEC, they're going to be in the title game. If Ohio State loses to Michigan State, they can't make it because they're not going to be Big Ten champs. You're only going to take one team from the Big Ten to go to the national championship. So they're not going to put 2 Big Ten teams in there. They're just not. I mean, because Michigan State might be able to make it because they have a case if they played Oregon. Ohio State, if they lose any games this year, they will not be in the national championship. The reason they made it last year, well, they lost to Virginia Tech, but Virginia Tech was out of conference, so they were still able to go to the Big Ten game. They were still at Big Ten championship. They were, you know, blow Wisconsin away, so they were able to get in. If Ohio State loses any games, especially a conference game, they're out of it. They're out of the national championship. There's no way they can get back in. So that's exactly. I mean, you hit it head on. So I don't know where T-Rod's logic was saying, you know, because Georgia would have one loss against playing, you know, 3 top 15 teams. Yet, you know, Ohio State has one game against a ranked team.
Yeah.
You know.
So. Well, also, but you know, Ohio State did start off number 1 in the poll. So if Ohio State goes undefeated, then that's going to put them in a position to be somewhere in that playoff at, you know, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. So they, even if they push down to 4, you know what I'm saying, like kind of like how Florida State, you know, finished with a great record, but then they didn't have the top seed going into the playoff. So Ohio State will still find their way in there. However, if they lose one game,
they're out.
Then it's going to be very hard to get in there.
Right. Hard. It's impossible. There's no way they can make it. There's no math. They would have to have they would have to have every team in the SEC have 3 losses, and they'd have to have every team in the Pac-12 with 3 losses, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
So Florida State's going to. Ohio State is going to play with they're playing with fire. It's kind of like a Boise State season where, you know, Boise State, even though I'm upset about that, they can't lose a game because it's kind of like they're out. So Ohio State's kind of like in that scenario. They do have an ace. Kind of like, you know, when you're playing spades, you have that guaranteed joker. Mm-hmm. They have that game with Michigan State, so if they get that game, that's going to be their joker, guaranteed joker right there to get them that book.
But this is what I'm going to interject to you though. My bad.
Go ahead.
Okay, tell me this. Okay, so Ohio State goes undefeated.
Yeah.
UCLA goes undefeated. Notre Dame goes undefeated. Ole Miss goes undefeated. And TCU goes undefeated. So why does Ohio State get in if those other 4 teams go undefeated?
But here's where I'll counter that. I don't think they get in if all those scenarios happen for the mere fact of the selection committee. I guarantee you, if those scenario happens, the selection committee will come down and say, I don't care. Because if you know, they don't vote the polls. The selection committee comes in and says, listen, this team played a better schedule than this team. And then, so they're out. And so you got Notre Dame playing 3 ranked teams. I guarantee you an SEC school. I would even take a 1-loss SEC school would make it in over an undefeated Ohio State team right now. Because of now, if Ohio State was blowing teams out, it'd be different. But Ohio State's already got it. You know, they didn't cover against Hawaii. They didn't cover against didn't even come close to covering against Northern Illinois. Yeah, they could get things straightened out, but those are going to be albatrosses around their necks for the whole season. So if that scenario works out there, I guarantee you the selection committee would not take Ohio State over those 5 other schools if they all would go undefeated.
Yeah, but listen to what we're saying here, right there. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of scenarios right there.
Yeah,
I mean, How many teams have gone undefeated? When was the last time 4 major D1 teams have gone undefeated.
Well, I can't remember a scenario of when that's happened. It hasn't.
So, but because it's not really that ludicrous. We've had 3 teams go undefeated.
Well, I mean,
had,
Alabama's lost. Alabama. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Zack.
No, I was saying you had USC, Oklahoma, and Auburn one year when Auburn got left.
Yeah.
So that was 3.
Okay.
So you only need 2 more teams.
But if you're Ohio State, what's your better odds? I mean, 4 or 5 teams going undefeated, or you winning out the schedule that you have. So I think that in the odds, the odds are going to fall in their favor if they don't lose a game. Now, they won't be. I don't think they will finish with the number 1 seed, but they will be in that top 4. And I think that's the formula that Meyer rolls with, and it can work. It can.
And and 411, I think a lot's going to be said when the selection committee comes out with their first rankings. If there's some undefeated teams in there, they're going to leave Ohio State. And then Ohio State's not going to be able to make up any game, any time attraction until they play Michigan State. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what the hope would be. But we don't know if Ohio State's name won't carry a lot of weight. And I'm just saying, as of right now, no one's looking at resumes. They're just looking at team names.
Well, we talked about this last year, remember? And I kind of threw out there like, you know what, man, if Ohio State don't lose another game, they're gonna mess around and get in this thing. And what happened? There were a couple teams that fell, that lost. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile they keep winning, and they just slowly moved up until they got to that 1 through 4 slot. And UCLA going undefeated. I wouldn't really want to bet on that. Maybe TCU, but they could fall to Baylor. So, it's just a lot of scenarios that have to fall their way in order for that to happen. And so I think, for those who don't want to see them in the playoffs, I think they're going to still make it. But if you want them out, that game November 21st is the one to watch, against Michigan State. And
but Ohio State does play at home, so that's another advantage that they got. So. Yeah.
Don't count out the Michigan game against Jim Harbaugh.
That's true. Jim Harbaugh should have that 5th-year senior transfer playing good ball by then.
Yeah. Well.
And and a team that has nothing to lose is very dangerous, especially if it's a rival.
Yeah.
I know, Lacy. I'm sorry. You're suffering. This is why you're root today.
Oh, no, I'm just steadily drinking while y'all are talking. Okay. I'm almost finished with this bottle, though. I may have an Omaha moment.
Yeah, that's the Ohio State scenario, but, we'll let it all play out. It'll play out one way or the other. And at the end of the day, 4 teams get to play for that championship. So even if Ohio State one of those 4, they got to beat 2 of them. So some kind of way. It'll be settled on the field. It'll be settled on the field.
I feel like we're all caught up now.
Yep.
Yeah. Today in sports history.
Yay. Mm-hmm.
Today in sports history.
Everybody's ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way ready.
Oh,
all right. There's 2 birthdays we're going to have to discuss here. Number 1. Yeah, number 1. This person was very influential to the National Basketball Association.
David Stern.
Really? You start there? Come on. He's so vague. That could be anybody.
Anybody want to take it?
Hey, look, I'm going to go
Red Auerbach.
Hey, we've opened it David Stern.
Red Holzman.
Holzman?
Happy birthday. So happy birthday, David Stern.
Dr.
Hey!
J? Really?
1984. Yeah. Now,
hey, that makes me 3 for 3.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, 2.5. Y'all share that one.
Yeah, give me some credit there, Zack.
I didn't get any of it. And I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is a legendary baseball manager.
Joe Torre.
Tommy Lasorda.
He said legendary. Joe Torre. Go Yankees.
Lasorda is legendary.
Go Yankees.
hey, who was that Yankee? Billy Martin.
Oh, Billy Martin, that's my boy. Yeah. Was anybody right?
I'm sure I emailed these to you guys, but yeah, happy birthday, Tommy Lasorda.
Well, I don't read your email.
Hey, Lasorda.
Yeah, hey, you know what, Mr. 411, yeah, you did. You forgot to take it off this sheet.
Hey, I didn't get to see that.
Actually, I saw it and I deliberately chose different. I refuse to agree with him for any reason.
You thought Tyrone was lying.
I just refuse to agree with him.
Yeah.
Mr. 411, I won't agree with you, even when I know you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, I understand. Well, tonight was very enjoyable.
Yes.
On behalf of Lacy Dawson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. On behalf of Lacy Dawson.
Yeah.
Zachariah Craig.
Sure.
The calculator.
We are right here.
Sir.
Uh-huh.
And our special guest, T-Rock.
T-Rock.
Uh-huh.
We thank everyone for listening to the show.
Yes.
I hope everyone has a great evening.
Yes.
Be ready for the NFL review
tomorrow
and preview.
Yeah.
And have a good night.
I just want to say,
have a good night.
I just want to say congratulations, University of Georgia, and great job, Mark Rick. Keep it going. You know what I said. Don't F this up, Mark Rick.
Yeah. Ciao, Bella.
Dog.
And on that note, have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye, Susanna.